I'm all sweaty from my hike.
Well, the sun hasn't come out. We are live.
Eh,
Hello,
The
everybody. Hi.
sun? What
What
is
is the sun?
that?
I don't know. Welcome to Double Defense. We are an all-female New York Rangers podcast, broadcasting to you from Southern California, where Christine and I have both moved from New York many years ago because we thought we heard a rumor that there was sunshine in this state,
And it was
but apparently,
warm, sunny, and
yeah,
happy.
that was apparently a lie. Apparently, it is always overcast and always cold. Go figure. Might as well stayed in New York. Although
Although
New
no,
York this week had some of its own issues. Were you following that story
with the
about
smoke.
with the smoke? Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
some photos from friends who are in New York right now, and it looks. I mean, maybe it's cleared up in the last couple of days, but it looks like the apocalypse there.
Yeah, it's just the winds are blowing that way. I have a coworker in the Toronto area, and I have and Sarah's up there too, which is interesting because we haven't discussed it with her too much. But there are fires all across Canada, new ones popping up, and it looks crazy. So it happened to be that the winds shifted and brought it all the way down the states, and so. And not only that, they were affected by, oh, there's my cutie butt. They were affected by the heat too. So when we were like getting our sweaters out still, because it's 60, 5 degrees here, it was like 90 degrees on the East Coast. And now I think it's chilly there now because I saw people with like jackets on and stuff. And I'm like, what happened? Like the weather's just psychotic. Guess what? That's called, global warming. And, things are happening and changing. And so I'm surprised that we're not hearing more about the fires there. We're really not hearing about it so much on the news, except for everybody, crying about it on New York. The chat board was going crazy too, I think they were calling it like COVID 2.0. They all had to put their masks back on. Everyone's got to go find masks just to go breathe in the smoke. So,
well, thankfully, we might have cold weather, but we've had nice air. So that's been a positive.
Well, our time will come because with the drizzle and the rain and the cool weather, this month it will get hot, it will get dry. We will have our own fires as usual, and and as we're dodging many other things, we'll be dodging that too.
Exactly. Well, in the meantime, at least we do have the Stanley Cup finals to keep us entertained and busy with. As we have talked about a number of times on this show, we do wish that we had the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup finals, but that was not to be this year. There's a lot of other Rangers rumors that have been going on, and I want to use our time together today to not only chat about what you've seen in the finals between the Panthers and the Golden Knights, but also to talk a little bit about New York Rangers Coach Watch 2023, why we haven't had an announcement yet, which I think is also interesting and a little bit telling.
You're not the only ones without a coach, by the way. I think we're the last.
We are the last team. Yes, we are.
No, Ducks don't have a coach.
Are you sure? I read yesterday that we were the last without a coach.
Well, maybe. So we'll do some research.
Matt
was saying yesterday that the Ducks don't have a coach. I think they just hired. I don't think they hired a coach. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Oh, but yeah, yesterday or the day before, I think I texted you guys. There were rumors flying on Twitter that Laviolette was about to be named coach. Like literally, all of these tweets were like, "It's going to happen any moment, at any moment, any moment." Obviously, that did not happen. Certainly didn't happen yesterday, and we are recording this on Sunday, the 11th of June. Maybe by the time this gets posted tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday, we will have a coach. But I think it's really telling that, there's been a lot of conversations. There's been a lot of names thrown around, including Hines from the Predators and Laviolette. Messier, I heard was an option. Then I heard he wasn't. Now I heard he's back to being an option. So
we can start our own rumor. Well, it's going to be me. Just kidding. It's like, we can start our own rumor. They're all just rumors.
Yeah, and I don't know who's starting them. I don't know if they're coming from someone internal or just one person puts it out on Twitter. And speaking of wildfire, it spreads like wildfire. And me, who believes everything that I read on Twitter, I'm like, look what's going on. I'm texting you right away. Oh my God, we're gonna have a coach.
I wonder. I always wonder if they read these things to see like what a joke everything is. It's so many trolls. They're all just trolls. So. I mean, and the one person I want to hear about, we're not hearing about, which is Knobloch. I mean, I'm still like wanting him to kind of be a more vocal or foreseen, option. But I hear he's in the mix, but you just don't hear anything. So
yeah.
It's, me, I'm just like, it is what it is, or it was nothing we can do about it. We just have to wait. But we are, time is ticking away, and I don't know what day they all report back and, and start to, condition and get back into training. But, they'd have to consider
time's ticking. They better hurry up and get back.
I mean, Mika's performing at, concerts, so
I was like,
doing their thing.
I almost texted you. I was like, Christine, we can make it to Sweden, can't we? So for anybody who doesn't know this, and maybe this is just common knowledge to us at this point, but for anyone who doesn't know, Mika Zibanejad is also, when he's not a star player for the New York Rangers, he is a DJ and does a lot of his own original music production and is performing, I think it's like the Swedish Lollapalooza. Yep. And if you have some time, I highly encourage you, check out, if you go on Spotify and you look him up, his songs are on there, and he has a couple of super catchy songs. They're always on my running playlists because they're just super fun, like really good beat. He has a really good eye for it. And I especially love it too, because the fan fiction writers, there's one in particular who always incorporates a little bit about Mika and this DJing into some of the stories. So I just personally love that.
Oh, can you imagine it, just reading it like while listening to the music? I'm like, that's
I don't have to imagine that. That is a thing that happens regularly in my household. The other rumor that I wanted to ask you,
after dark episode there.
Oh, stay tuned. If you've been a listener of Double D-Fense, you know what we're talking about. We will definitely be getting into that. The other rumor that I wanted to ask you about is, did you see this thing about Penn Station being remodeled in the next couple of years and the Rangers potentially losing Madison Square Garden to play in for a season?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of issues come up before with remodeling, or even like the rumor of MSG being sold, so again, I don't think so. So and if it were to happen, it happens. But
where would you want to play? Like, where would you think they'd relocate to?
I think we'd have to take over somebody's arena. It's not like, what the only open one is the old, the little dinky one in Brooklyn,
yeah, we probably share with,
do we want to go there? No.
Or like the UBS.
I don't even know what their options would be. Can we share?
Probably be sharing with
the Devils?
Yeah,
no, not the Islanders. We would share with the Devils, I think.
Share with somebody. Why would we share with the Devils though?
Share. Just squeeze in and just share together. It's funny. We were talking about last night. We were watching the game, and it wasn't even because it was on TNT, but there's another channel that was showing horse racing from the Meadowlands and stuff, and it had MSG, and it had like a New Jersey commercial on there, and he's like, wow. Why does New York do that? Why do they have like competitors on their channel? Like it's so retarded, to have that. And the other thing too, and I kind of will jump around, but it's like they have a great NHL Pride commercial that I have to say is amazing, but it wasn't on that Stanley Cup thing on TNT.
No, I didn't see that.
We kind of want to see it, but it was on, I think it's ESPN or whatever had the MSG channel on, and flashes of it. It was we caught it, we watched it. It was fantastic. And that was the only time I've seen it. So maybe it's because they're airing it on TNT and, the rights or whatever, but there is a wonderful commercial going out there, which, I know that's come up in our conversation during this month. It's like why we haven't seen certain things, from certain teams, but this one incorporated most of the teams, and it was really good. So
that's cool. No, I had not seen that. If you can track it down and send it, I would love to see it, and we should post it.
Yeah, we'll have to share the clip on Instagram and see, because it's really good. But I'm like, why are we not watching it during the game? The commercials. I'm like, that's where we want to see it and highlight the NHL and all that's kumbaya about it. But there's no kumbaya right now.
Yeah, no, there's not. No, there's not. And speaking of no kumbaya, I mean, let's talk about yesterday's game. Obviously, I see on your screen you are rooting for Vegas. I'm also rooting for Vegas. It was a good game. These have been good games and tough.
They're tough. I was on a couple of the boards today, and watching the trolls and all the things. So take out the refs, take out all the little controversy. In my opinion, these games, and the only one I couldn't watch was the last 2 periods on Monday. But I was trying to watch it. There was there was a little TV up at the soccer arena where I was seeing things, and I was watching people go into the tunnel, and then I learned later on that everyone got ejected at the end of the game. But that was the blowout game. Look, I think when they step on the ice to win the end, these are 2 dead even skilled teams. I mean, the strength, I mean, everything. The goalies, I mean, both goalies are playing fantastic. And they each have like key people, and generally their entire team is, the defense is good, the offense is good, the moves are good, and we're seeing generally low shots by each team because they're blocking shots. We're seeing amazing saves by the goalies on both sides. And you really are seeing, it's really now a battle of who's more disciplined, and also who is capitalizing on the errors of the other team. And so we are seeing by the fact that, the penalties have cost the Panthers dearly. Last night, it was even a better game because there was only 1 penalty. They held it down. They went from all that, craziness to 1 penalty. And we saw them come back, and it was very close and very tight. And again, it's pretty much anybody's game. Thursday was great too. So I expect on Tuesday it's going to be ugly because it's just ugly. I know. I think the Panthers are the instigators for things. I'm watching them, do little shoves and hits behind the refs, and and trying to really draw those penalties in. And it's interesting. It was cute watching it with the boys. So we were celebrating Matthew's birthday. So shout out to our our West Coast correspondent Matthew, who turned 23 last week.
Happy birthday, Matthew!
We were celebrating and watching the game. So it was cute how we got to watch the replay and we were analyzing it. Like Matthew's like, nope, that's a good goal. So you see everybody just passionate and blaming the refs, blaming Brett Bettman for buying off Vegas, although he was buddy with the owner of the Panthers and holding hands with them. It was really very cute. So it's going to be good. I mean, I think the cup's going to be in the house. Someone put down there, they could come back. I'm like, it's always probable. Mathematically, it's possible. It's not likely. I think. Yeah. I think I'm going to give everything to Vegas, and enjoy it. Again, these are 2 teams who have never ever won the Stanley Cup, so you can see why that they're frustrated, why they're fighting so hard, for each play and each period and each goal. And that's the beauty of the sport. So, I've seen people say this is boring. This is by far, last night's game is better than any game in 7 we've ever seen. It was so intense.
I agree. It was intense from the second that they would drop the puck every single play.
It was great.
Both teams were showing up. It is really good Stanley Cup hockey. I think that Vegas is outplaying the Panthers, which I'm really surprised about because, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about our predictions. I had thought Panthers were going to win this relatively easily because of how fast they've been, how crafty of a team that they are. But Vegas has been playing really smart, really strong, really fast. Even the goal that the Panthers scored, that first goal that they scored on Thursday, or whenever the game was,
when they went wraparound?
That went off of the guy's foot that the Panthers scored. It really, that was there was a little bit of luck, I think, on that end too. And I think the luck's kind of going their way, but they created that opportunity. And it's just interesting to watch. It's really interesting to watch.
Look, I thought on Thursday where they're like, yeah, the Panthers are coming back. I'm like, actually, my take on Thursday's game was the Panthers got really lucky. They came back, they did that Hail Mary, pull the goalie, and
they got close. They got very close.
It was, they did that on Thursday. It was amazing, and they did it. But I'll tell you why they were lucky, because right before they pulled the goalie, Vegas had they had a power play, and they farted around. They just kept skating. They didn't take any shots.
I was watching it and I go, this looks so familiar. This was like the Rangers all over again. They were just passing. I'm like,
yeah. Shoot. And I'm like, that's where they blew. Like, that's where I think Vegas made a mistake and blew it and didn't take those opportunities, because it's not like Vegas. They were, they really were playing, like, they've been playing close to perfect, I think, in defending, the goalie and limiting the shots for the Panthers, and really hustling. And so it's just been fantastic. So, I think really it's not come down to anyone being better than the other one. I think it's just a matter of Vegas has been able to capitalize better on the mistakes that the Panthers have made. And that's a completely different, point of view from it. Because I don't want to take away from how the Panthers have been playing. I think Gudas is a dirty skunk. What are they calling him? What's his name? They call him Grizzly Adams. I think that's what Biz was chirping, like calling him Grizzly Adams. I'm like, I think he is, but he's also kind of a douche, So, he's telling people he's going to take his face off, and then he gets nailed, and he's out for like a half a game or whatever. And I was like, too bad it's not more. But then he comes back and plays. I mean, he's their thug. They're playing tough hockey. I mean, it was interesting too, if you heard when Tkachuk went out, and as we created our new vocabulary.
Yes, Double D-Fense has a brand new, we've created a new language similar to Pig Latin. It's called Tkachuk, and you just add TK and A before every word that you say.
Woo, it's hard. Sucks. It's easier when you drink. Yeah. So, but when he was out, amazing. But when he was out and then he came back, it was interesting to even hear, like Gretzky and everybody talking, saying, like, if you're Vegas, you go right for him and you just check him hard, because he's injured and you got to get him out. Because, by the way, Mr. Tkachuk, or Chuck as the announcers like to call him now, because no one knows how to say full names anymore. He's going for a misconduct streak, so he's got 4 or 5 game misconducts in the playoffs or more. I have to look it up, but definitely crazy. I think he ended up with 2 or 3 penalties from the list of 6 from last night. So as much as we adore him, and he's getting these game winners, because he went out and injured and then came back and tied that game up, so but he's still a thug too, because he has all these game misconducts, so I expect, I'm like, look, if we could either play a drinking game, somebody should, or not, because let's go for fights, penalties, and goals for shots, and I don't think anyone's going to be going to work the next day. Is my prediction for Tuesday.
What do you think of the goaltending? What do you think of the goaltending on both sides?
I think they're both amazing. I think they're both amazing. And I think at one point on it's a Monday, I think Vegas just defends Hill so well that I think he let one goal in, and then he was like, nope, that's it.
I actually had a moment, watching Vegas play, watching Hill and watching the defenders going man, I wish the Rangers had that during the season for Igor, because if he had felt like he had that team in front of him to defend him and make sure that only the top shots are getting by, I think it would have been a real different place. So I just hope that the Rangers are sort of looking at this going, okay, we can achieve this. This is sort of goals for next year.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a different caliber too. You kind of defend more, when we're up there. But also watch the game. What I did notice is this is what Vegas defensemen held their position, a lot. When I hate it when we start, especially when we're on when we're on a penalty kill, and then we start chasing them. And I was watching, and Vegas kind of held their position. Kind of, they kept their view of who's where. but they kept steady. And I think that's a key factor. And I love watching, like, again, from a different point of view and a different angle, being that they're not my team and I'm not stressing over everything. Because like the concerts that are going on now, where people are like, they're talking about how people go to a concert and they forget everything because they're so like overwhelmed with stuff. I'm sure that's the way these fans are. They're just so overwhelmed with, what they think is a bad call or whatever. They're not really, I don't know how much they can enjoy the game, and so,
because they're too busy shouting "refs, you suck" and throwing
"refs, you suck" with a call, we've seen way worse calls for penalties, and some of them have got away with it, like Hill. But I'm like, good for you, because like Hill threw in a couple of shots. Well, he threw in a couple of shots yesterday, but in the game, a couple games prior, he did that too. But he was getting pummeled too. So
the refs weren't calling a ton of stuff. I think they were calling it smartly. I don't think they were calling a ton of stuff. I think they were strategic with it, but that upset. I mean,
I know. I'm doing my hockey mom chant. Let them play. Let them play. Yeah, you got to. Because look, they. I mean, especially the Panthers and stuff. I don't really think anything was really that bad, and they were calling them simultaneous because there were simultaneous things happening. So I honestly, at least last night when we were all together watching it, I think all the calls were fair. You know. So, and then at the end, I don't even. Like, what did it even matter? Why did they even give out penalties at the end of the game? I'm like, nothing mattered afterward. And it was a big brawl. We watched it for a bit and then we left. So we didn't see the entirety of the fights. But we saw the listing of what was called, And so I think, did someone got a penalty for throwing a rat at the ref? I think someone caught a video, a fan chucking a rat at the ref, which it's still hilarious.
There were definitely people. I mean, I thought the rats being thrown, I thought that you do that for a win, but apparently you just do it when you get angry. And then I just want to say, I think it was a little bit bad form of Florida fans. They started throwing their garbage on the ice like the Dallas fans did. I mean, I get it. Like, but you're frustrated. But your team just busted their ass out there. They came really close to tying it up. It's not a way to say, hey, thanks for all the effort, guys. Come on, Florida. You can do better. You can do better.
And in defense of that, I'll have to say, New York had its gloomy light too, because they did that at I was at the Henrik when they retired his jersey against Minnesota, and it was not a good call. I think it was an erroneous call by the ref with 3 seconds to go, where we would have tied the game up, and it looked as though it was a goal. And I think they called it back. And with that callback, everybody started chucking stuff. I mean, it was the end of the game, and we ended up leaving really quickly after that, because this was such a great night. I mean, grown men were in tears and everything, and they ended it by just being disgusting, for the portion of the people that are doing that. We know it's not every
fans. We know it's frustrating, but
by the same trolls that are that are like starting crap up on the internet. So don't let that be. But just enjoy it. Everyone had rats, so it'll be a curious thing. We should send your correspondent down there to find out where you actually buy those rats.
I own. It is upstairs. I do not know why I have this, but I have a black rubber rat that is like perfect for it. I don't know why I own it, but I'll save it. Maybe we'll get to a game next season and we'll bring it with us just in case. But my rat's going to wear a little Rangers jersey, and he's going to be named Rat Messier.
Oh, see, now I want rats, and I want to name them. They should go with my dragons, So, that's funny, because did you see they panned on this woman who had she had pets, little plastic pets. She was like, "Oh, my little babies," and they all had numbers. I think she painted on them, so she was protecting them really well.
We just get loaves of bread. That's all we get. We just get baguettes. I wish we had something cute. I do wish we had like a cute little mascot that we could pet.
Well, the funny thing is, again, they have the rats they throw on the ice, And it was cute. It was cute too, because Danny was there and Danny didn't know the story. So Matt showed them the story. And one of the funny things that came out of the rat story was that no one even knows who the guy's, like, what his name is. They just call him the rat guy. And so, like, that
you mean
I think
the
was
player?
the funniest part.
The player? So I think we should, just for anybody who doesn't know, if you were listening to this, the Rats of Florida came about because many years ago, one of the players, they found a rat in their locker room, and one of the players was able to get it. I think he killed it. He then went on to score
hat trick.
Did he get a full hat trick? He got 3. He scored. Okay, so he scored a hat trick. I wasn't sure if it was 2 goals and they counted the rat as the third. But anyway, he went on to have a great game. They called it the rat trick. And from then on, it stuck. And obviously, the Panthers being the cats eat rats. It was a perfect little analogy for all of them. So it's cute. It's cute. I mean, other than
surprise revelation, because we probably would never have known that unless the Panthers have made it as far as they did. But it was cute. But I guess when there was a story where someone met him and they're like, "You're the rat guy." So like, he's not even known by his name or anything. He's known by the rat guy. And the ironic thing is, the only one, like, we're the only team without a mascot, but that everybody and their mother, like, across the world, thinks the rightful mascot for the Rangers is Pizza Rat. So.
100% it's Pizza Rat. I'm all for that. I think if there was
everybody is.
There's going to be, and I'll give it a little piece of pizza too. So I'm going to take that rat. We're going to make a little Rangers jersey for it and give it a piece of pizza.
If I'm surprised that doesn't go far. Can we bring Ben with us next time we go to New York and get him a costume?
Just to go as what?
We can throw, like, we can hand out cheese samples, or throw out little crumbs of bread, like things like that. We can, by that time we'll have even better ideas.
Yeah.
And then we'll charge people $5 to take pictures. I think we'll be millionaires by the time we even get
to this can go so many places. A lot of people have said,
I can see Ben. What you do?
Like a furry costume.
Boring.
Oh, I'm sure he's like, sign me up right away, whatever this is about. So moving on from that. What do you think we're going to see? So, okay, Tuesday, the Stanley Cup is going to be in the house. So the Stanley Cup's now going to be in the house for every game going forward, which is exciting. Yeah. That's exciting.
It's not going to go past Tuesday.
You think it's going to be over on Tuesday?
I have to listen to last week. I forgot what I said. I think I initially, I think I changed it. Did I go from 5 to 6, or did I go from 6 to 5?
I think you went from 5 to 6.
Yeah.
I think you wound up with 6.
Yeah. So, my gut's always right. So, I mean,
so mine hasn't. Every prediction. I was listening back to our episode last week and realized every prediction I've made for this year has been completely wrong. So I don't know if that's but everyone, I feel like, again, if anybody had a bracket that actually made sense and worked for where we are at right now, I would love to see it.
I know, prove it. Show us a receipt. I'd love that too.
Yes.
It's funny. We noticed too that even during the game yesterday, where they were down 2 goals, they still had the Panthers winning. Like, they still had the Panthers with a 40 plus % chance of winning. Yeah. So that's crazy. I don't know why anyone. I really like to understand why anyone's underestimated the Vegas, team, because, I mean, what we're seeing is the Panthers, we saw what they did against Boston. And it was good. I mean, these were good games, and the Panthers really haven't changed their style, for anything. But what I think Vegas did was learn, because like they played tough teams. Dallas was great, and they lost a couple games, which I think ultimately, here's the other thing too. We talked about this last time, because when we actually did our podcast last time, we were strategizing, like, is this long wait good or bad? And I think the Vegas losing unintentionally, of course, like, those 2 games benefited them because it drew out that time. And they had the momentum coming into this series and the home ice advantage. So those 2 factors really played in a lot, for things.
Because I had taken the opposite stance, and you were totally right. I stand very corrected on that. Just about, is rest better versus momentum being better? And I think the momentum has definitely paid off for Vegas.
I think, had Florida had the home ice advantage, it may have been a different story, because it definitely worked well for Vegas with the home ice advantage and the momentum together. It's both add up, and then of course, it just comes down to like who loses at home, and that's why last night's game I knew was going to be the most exciting game. We were talking about it too. It's like, I think just the fact that you win, it's tied and it's dead even again, and you start over from this point on, or you're really in a hole that you're probably not going to be able to come out of. We've seen it before. It's unlikely. And the reason being is that, Vegas just isn't making any mistakes like enough to afford, 3 games in a row, to lose to. But again, it's anybody's game. It'll be fun. I think it'll still be close. I would like an overtime, although, I'm like, I would like an overtime with Vegas winning. But the other thing is that, the Panthers are trying to get into those overtimes because they have a record. Like they're 10-0, 11-0 now with, overtime goals. So there are strengths that they have. But, the one thing is I think Vegas is doing their homework. I mean, I've seen them learn and capitalize on it and match up with them and stuff. Kind of this, kind of the way that the Devils ended up doing with us.
Yeah.
They matched us up. They owned us, for a couple of games. We tried something different, and it worked for a game, too. And then it did it. So.
I'm really excited for the next game. I think we're just going to see amazing hockey because Florida they have to put everything on the line. Vegas is going to have everything.
Game? Should we do?
I think we totally should. I think we should definitely make sure
we should go live too. Maybe we could do it. We can do Instagram live between periods to see. So maybe I'll do a fly for Instagram. Like see if we can do a drinking game for taking a drink for. I don't know. There was something that we saw before, but it's like for every. There's going to be penalties. I don't know. I mean, I think there's going to be penalties because I think at some point, I think Panthers are going to be like, they can't really afford a penalty.
Because Vegas is capitalizing on it so much.
They absolutely.
Have to be really careful.
And it's going to be a safe, they can't afford anything, and it's going to be a safe game too for Vegas because I don't think they want to lose and then win in Vegas. I mean, I think they want this, because don't forget every time Vegas scores a goal, 1,000 glitter things, earn $1 million. So
every time a baby laughs, like an angel gets her wings. Like this is every time Vegas, like a stripper gets another pair of heels. Whatever it is, it's great. It's great. It's great for the city. Hey, it's great for Vegas. Vegas is going to be getting a professional baseball team soon as well. I think they want to establish themselves.
There's that. That's a debatable thing that Matthew would love to be on the show to talk about with Oakland. So we were talking about that last night too. They're like, no one wants them to be there. So, and I think they're saying that they're trying to get them to sell the team to another owner. Cause I think Oakland is trying to keep the team there. So there's a lot of talk about that, but yeah, I mean, don't forget, for those who don't know, like my child's a Kings fan, but he lives in Vegas. So, and obviously very, very into all the sports. So we were discussing that last night too. But yeah, if they're going to bring a baseball team there now, the Raiders are new there and the Knights are there and they,
But what I love about professional sports teams in Vegas is exactly the experience that we had. Like it's fun to go see your team play. Yeah. What better city in the country to meet up at than Vegas?
Oh my God!
You turn into a fun weekend for you.
So long ago. So long ago. Yeah. But it was so amazing. So to recap that night, it was our first, we organized this watch party, and get together as a podcast team. And Sarah wasn't able to join us, but we went and we had Stacy Nutini and who runs the ladies of all the teams boards. And she got some people going. We had some other people going. We had Ted Calamaris, who, if you're an East Coaster, you've probably been to some of his events. He has an event coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks. So go on New York Ranger events, and he's got this big event coming up where he's got a couple of older hockey players, that will be there signing autographs. He's got, things to sell, but he also does trips with people that I've come to know as well. So he was there with people. That's who I was out with, and I got lost. I got drunk and lost. And so we had this great group of people, and it was so funny because someone walked in. It was Heidi. Heidi walks in. She's like, "Oh my God, Christine!" And I'm like, "Who are you?" And so just walking in the middle of Vegas from someone who lives in Arizona, we're in California, we're in Vegas. Someone walks in the bar and sees us, and is someone I know. That was so amazing. We had a great group of people. There was I think there was 20 or 30 of us at the bar.
Yeah.
And we brought Kelly and my friend Jennifer, who both of them have never been to a hockey game ever. And, we had a great time watching that game. We talked about that last episode because the Knights didn't play that well, and we easily beat them. Half the crowd left, or 90% of the crowd.
And the other half was Ranger fans. I mean,
they all
Ranger
left
fans there. 12
minutes to go in the game, so it was only Ranger fans, that was left in the arena, which was fantastic for us. It was great, and the other thing is that they cleared out, because that's the one arena. Again, as we're learning, we're growing with this, we are going to explore more arenas, but T-Mobile Arena is a great place to go, but it's limited on exits and entrances. So everybody leaving kind of, it's like a herd of cows. So that's not a good thing. We were lucky. Our seats were great next to an elevator. Huh?
Yeah. And what's not limited in is $44 margaritas.
Apparently everyone's complaining about those wherever they're at.
Yeah. This is now gone viral. The drinks are not cheap. But what better city? Like when you call up your friends and you're like trying to get a group of people together to go to a game, you're like, "Hey, do y'all want to meet up in Detroit?"
No. We do have time to call in sick and do a quick flight just to see if we can run into players after the game.
Yeah.
There's that big hotel right there.
I know. That was right after Reeves was traded. Do you remember? Because we wanted to go see. We were thinking we might be able to meet him, and then they traded him.
We were very close to having him on our show and doing a meet and greet with him. But he was traded
a minute before.
You remember
what we
did?
Before.
You remember what we did? We got that cutout, and I brought his cutout face. Okay, so I brought his cutout face.
We brought Sarah. And
we brought Sarah with us. Our cutout faces. And the best part is, Reeves was cute. We have him in our pictures, but unfortunately, you turned it around.
Yeah,
the way it was cut out, it looked just like a penis, like a penis cut out. Like it was waving it around. Hey, everybody loves our cutout.
And it's Vegas. That would not be the weirdest thing that somebody had seen that day, by far.
See, it's too bad. Like we should be man on the street. So if we're able to next time, because everyone's, especially Vegas. When they win, they're going to win. I think they're going to win on Tuesday. It's going to be pandemonium on the streets.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the city doesn't close anyway, and so it's a great money move for the bar that the beer house is right there, and you got some. They're just going to have some crazy entertainment. Hopefully people are capitalizing on everything, and that's what makes Vegas so beautiful. And it's just going to be, it's going to be crazy. And then where would the parade be?
I know.
No, down Tropicana, down Las
definitely.
Vegas Boulevard. Like that's crazy. Oh my God, I'm thinking way ahead, but it's crazy. So, and exciting. Because that'll be a lot of fun. We need to go to Vegas.
It's definitely on the agenda for next year.
Next year, right? Can we do a quick girl week? Like, we should just do it.
Definitely. Well, on that note, I think we have a lot to look forward to this week. I think it's going to be a really exciting game. I think we're in the next week, we will see the Stanley Cup.
And let's quickly talk about, we'll end this really quick after, but let's just talk about these jersey things that's been going around. Because we were talking about before the show. So in the last week or so, it's come out that Florida has these jerseys where, the home jerseys say Panthers and the away jerseys say, Florida. And I was kind of mind blown by that. I thought it was, okay, that's it's cool, it's cute, it's fun. And so I put it out as a poll on our story, and I found it to be fairly interesting that 2/3 of the people who actually responded to it, just about 100 people, they weren't aware that this existed. And so it gets your mind thinking. And then we have a little input from a former hockey player, Mr. Greschner, who is, he's a follower and a fan, as we are of his. And he sent a message saying, yeah, back in 74 when I was playing, the Rangers did that too. Which I was like, what? And I thought that was pretty cool. And I think we looked it up. There's a site that tells you all the jerseys and when they change. That I think they changed that jersey in the mid 80s, around in 1984, I think. So that's kind of like where, you were, what grade were you in? Third? No, you were born then. You were born. You were one.
I was
You're the baby. I'm like graduating. So you don't even remember.
Nope.
So I found that to be interesting. And then I pose it out to somebody, and then I find out, yeah, everybody does it. Like baseball does it, basketball. And I'm like, what? And now we're also like, a lot of us are second, it's people I'm talking to. So I think baseball does it. And I don't know what hockey teams have done it. So it's an interesting thing to kind of look into further. And because we were talking about like even home and away jerseys for football and basketball and stuff. It makes sense to do that because when you're playing somewhere, that we were talking about last night with Matthew, it's like, it makes sense to put where you're from in an away jersey so that when people go to games, they know where you're from.
In case they forget partway through the game, you're like, oh, what city was I from again?
We've seen some of these fans. They don't even know their own sport. So it makes sense. But even before, like maybe even way back, I don't know. Before internet, I don't know. So I don't know where it even stemmed from, but it makes sense. It's just something we haven't seen. So I'm just so blown by it. Cause then when I was like, oh, I just learned this great thing. And then that was like, no, everybody does it. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know anything now. So
we'll have to take a careful look. And see what other teams are doing it, because a lot of teams like look at Vegas. Like I don't think they have an alternate jersey that I think says Vegas on it, but the rest of the time it's the symbol.
Matthew's like, did you know that Vegas is a big V on it?
Oh, it's cute. It's really creatively done. It's a good logo. It's a really good logo. It is glitter. There's
like pure solid gold in their jerseys, probably. So that's a great fun fact that came to light, but it's also opened up, and this is why I like doing this. It's just opened up, this whole other kind of thing where we can really learn more about it and kind of understand it, because it makes sense why it would be. And if you think of that, then why aren't we all doing it? Why did it change? And, and why does baseball do it, but no one else does it? Is it just to get creative, or what?
Okay. So important question. When we get our own personal home and away jerseys for Double D-Fense, what are they going to look like? Because I could see like our home jersey being like 2 Ds, like right here. And then our away jersey is like Double D-Fense going down there. And I think it's going to be pink and blue.
Pink and blue. Well, we're going to have to, that's going to have to be a crafty design just because we're split, we're split in areas and locations, and we're split with teams. So
at least we're all blonde though.
It should be a 2/3 blue, 1/3 yellow on the cuff.
Yeah.
We'll give Sarah a cuff.
Yeah. Well, by next season we're making her a Rangers fan. We're working on it.
I know. I think if once one of those old people on her team retire, the next season, and they don't make another playoff, then she'll be done. So because we will, I'm not worried about that. It's just like let's keep going further, and so we're coming up really quickly on. We're in the middle of June already. We're gonna have we're gonna hopefully have a coach soon, and begin to kind of settle in, knowing that we know it. And then there's going to be trades too. So we're going to have to see, who's going to, come out of the summer and how we're going to go into the year. And then we're really excited about looking forward to the schedule so that we can kind of see where we want to go. We've got the outdoor game in February with, and Matthew's like, you want to go? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I mean, it's an option, for us to go.
And I think we're going to see some new faces. I keep reading about, talent that the Rangers are signing. I will say the people that I'm reading that they're signing, everybody has like the most unpronounceable name ever. There's like Blyde with a D and an H and Gusta. I can't even. So we're gonna have to work on that.
Well, that's why the guys make nicknames. That's why, like the other night, they can't say like Kachuk and Bobrovsky. They were like, it's the Chuck and Bob show. Bob's been great and Chuck is amazing. Their names aren't that hard, well, unless you're Charles Barkley and you can't say it. But that's what you get, So I know there was one game in the season. Who was it? But it was Sam, where I think 3 guys it was like whoever's on the other team, all the names sound the same, and he just messed them all up. It was so funny. But that's the beauty of it. So let's get all those names on there because everyone's getting nicknames. I wonder. I like we don't have the nicknames like I'm seeing like on the Kings or like that's what I hate those nicknames. Jonesy and luckily like Hank is Hank. They're not giving him a nickname. They can't. Gretzky, they call him Gretz.
Yeah, but I heard that the other day. I was like, who? Like, what a weird.
I'm like, stop. Yeah. I used to hear the Kings all the time, with the quickie and copy, and I'm like, oh my god, they're all girl names. I'm like, stop.
Also, if your nickname is going to make it longer, there's no point in using a nickname. Just say Quick. Don't add the extra syllable. That makes no sense. No.
Hey, by the way, Quick is on Vegas.
I know. Has not played. Yeah.
He's going to get his cup, again. So good for him. You got Martin on there too. I think everyone's playing well. I'm just liking it. So I'm happy that, happy for several reasons that it's Vegas and not Florida. Which I've not been hiding. So, I know other people say that they feel Florida deserves it because, I'm like, because why? Because they beat Boston. That's not what happens.
Yeah.
It honestly too, we're coming in where, everyone's saying they favor this or they favor that. The bottom line is Vegas had a better record too. So they're stronger. They're a stronger team. Again, it's hard to believe that they are, knowing that when we played them, they weren't the team that looked like they could get anywhere, and look where they are, which is amazing. So, let them play, let them enjoy. It'll be a first. And then, and then to kind of end, my thing too, is we have the NBA finals as well, which I haven't really been watching, but I do know that the Denver Nuggets are ahead and they've never won a championship either. So, and that's looking like that may end tomorrow as well. So, when you've seen firsts in these things, when you've seen teams around or you've been watching it your whole life, and they're still first to enjoy and see and experience, then, appreciate every moment that you're watching it, because that's what makes it beautiful in all the sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, we will be back next week to talk about who has probably won the Stanley Cup by that point.
In the house.
The Cup in 2023. It's very exciting.
And we'll play a drinking game. So follow us on Instagram.
Yes, we will. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. No matter what happens, it's going to be a great game.
Make sure to stay hydrated as you're drinking along.
Yes. Yeah. Water, we're alternating. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.